Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chief Judge John Phillips of the 19th Judicial Circuit in Lake County, Illinois. Welcome to your Courthouse at Work, where judges tell the story of how justice is administered in our county and the many things that are going on every day at our court facilities. In this episode, we feature our jury system. Each year, thousands of jurors are called to our courthouse in Waukegan, where they decide the outcome of literally hundreds of trials. The system is fair, it's just, and it is efficient. It's wonderful to see jurors from all walks of life come together, listen to the evidence at trial, and then make a fair and impartial decision. It's just what our founders envisioned in 1787 when they adopted the Constitution. It worked then, and it does work now. I truly believe that if you're called to jury duty, you'll agree with me. Judge Chris Stride will be the one that will lead you through the jury process. In our legal update segment today, Judge Tom Shippers and Judge Veronica O'Malley will talk about how the judges in Lake County use mediation to move and resolve civil cases more efficiently. In my animal law feature towards the end of this episode, I'll be back to show you how horses are used in therapy to help so many people, including those that are involved in the court system. And finally, you'll be introduced to three of our newest judges, and you can also join us in bidding a fond farewell to our former Chief Judge, Fred Foreman, who very recently retired from the bench. This will be a great episode, so please stay tuned.
This episode of Your Courthouse at Work has featured jury service. Hi, my name is Judge Christopher Stride. I'm an Associate Circuit Judge here in Lake County. In my 23-year career as a judge and a lawyer, it's been my privilege to try over 150 jury trials. That means I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of jurors over my lifetime. When jurors come in, they're understandably nervous, they're unsure of what's going to happen during the week. It's our hope that in this program, we'll dispel some of those fears and concerns. Jury service is one of the great duties we all have as citizens living under this wonderful democracy of ours. This call to service does not come often, but when it does come, it's a vitally important role for each of us to fulfill. The orderly resolution of disputes is an invaluable service that you can provide to our communities. When you come in on Monday morning to fulfill your jury service, you'll first be oriented by our jury commissioner, Jody Luca. Jody will explain the nuts and bolts of how it is that you're going to make it from the jury commission to the courtroom. Then another judge, such as myself, will come down and orient you as to what you can expect to see in the courtroom. Once you arrive at the courtroom, we will ask you questions, and the lawyers will ask you questions. We do that not to pry into your personal lives. We do that in order to make an informed decision as to whether or not you'd be a good juror to serve on the particular case that's at issue. Many of the questions that we all ask will be based on the juror profile that you filled out when you returned your summons or when you filled out in the jury commission. If any of us ask you a question that you're not at all comfortable answering, let us know. Please don't be shy about doing that. What we'll do is we'll ask those questions at a sidebar conference. The sidebar conference is where you step up to the bench and we'll huddle around the court reporter and we'll have that conversation in private. Once your concerns have been alleviated, we'll continue on with the questioning. If you're not selected as a juror, please don't be offended. There may be something in your life experience or in your background that makes you a poor fit for that particular jury. If you are selected as a juror in a particular case, there is an order in which trials progress. If it's a criminal case, you'll hear the prosecutor give an opening statement and then the defense attorney. If it's a civil case, you'll hear the plaintiff's lawyer give an opening statement and then the defense attorney. Once those opening statements have been made, we will then proceed to the evidence. In a criminal case, the state bears the burden of proof, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. The state goes forward with the evidence since they bear that burden. Once the state has rested, then the defense may offer a case if they choose. But our Constitution protects the rights of the defendant by cloaking them with the presumption of innocence, and if they choose not to present a case, they don't have to. The defendant may rely solely upon the presumption of innocence and not offer any testimony or evidence. Once all the evidence has been heard, then each side will have the opportunity to make a closing argument. In a criminal case, the state will have the opportunity to argue first, then the defense, and since the state bears the burden of proof in a criminal case, the prosecutor will be permitted to make a second or rebuttal argument. Once the arguments have been completed, the judge will then instruct you as to the law. He or she will read those instructions to you verbatim from the bench. Then a copy of those instructions will be provided for you to use during your deliberations. Don't be shy during deliberations. If you have an opinion, let it be heard. All your fellow jurors expect each other to share their opinions and their ideas of a particular case. It's that lively conversation and that lively debate that helps resolve these cases. Remember to apply the law to those facts and in that way decide the particular case that's in front of you. We're visiting today with Lake County Jury Commissioner Jody Luca. Jody, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you.
Now, can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen what the Jury Commissioner does?
Sure, it's our responsibility down in Jury Commission to summons enough people on a weekly basis so when all the cases are ready to go to a trial, we have enough jurors that can be impaneled for each case. You mentioned summonsing jurors, and how do you summons a prospective juror into the courthouse? On a yearly basis, we're given a long list of names, and that list is pulled from a very small percentage is pulled from voters registration, but the majority of it comes up from Secretary of State. So driver's license, state ID cards, and also some from the unemployment records as well. On average, Jody, how often would you say a person is called to serve on a jury in Lake County? I think the random statistic that I have heard is about once every 30 years. So I know there's always that juror when I do orientation, when I ask has anybody served on a jury multiple times, there's usually one or two folks that'll raise their hand. But that's statistically an anomaly, is that correct? Correct. Most folks, if they are called to serve maybe once or twice during their lifetime, is that right? Yes. When, after a person's been selected to serve on a jury and they've heard the evidence, they've heard the judge's instructions, they've deliberated on their verdict, and they're done, you have a chance to visit with those jurors sometimes as well, is that correct? Yes. And when those folks come back after that experience, what's their reaction once they've actually served on a jury? The reaction of a typical juror who's actually served on a jury is quite positive. We do have a survey that we request feedback from jurors who have both sat on juries and who have not sat on juries. And those really do come back with very similar feedback. Everybody appreciated the accommodations. They believe that the staff is very friendly, which we definitely do our best downstairs to always have a smiling face, and things go smoothly. So I think everybody really appreciates it and feels good that they've done their service, their civic duty. I say to every jury that I work with on a weekly basis, thank you. And I say thank you because short of wearing a uniform at a time of war and standing a post, I don't believe there's a more critical duty that we can fulfill as ordinary citizens than serving on a jury. The rule of law is what makes this country unique, and it's what makes this country special. Trials by juries are a principal reason of why our founding fathers fought the revolution and crafted the Constitution in the way that they did. It is the ordinary citizen's participation in that democracy by serving on a jury that is the ultimate check on constitutional authority and individual rights.
Alternative dispute resolution or mediation programs are up and running at the courthouse, yet not very well known by the public. Hello, I'm Judge Veronica O'Malley.
And hello, folks. I am Judge Tom Shippers, and we're here today to report on some mediation programs that are now available at the Lake County Courthouse in the Family and Small Claims Divisions.
The Family Volunteer Mediation Program has been in existence on the first floor of the courthouse since 2007, and the Small Claims Mediation Program was created roughly 1 year ago. The purpose of these mediation programs is to provide pro se litigants with the opportunity to resolve their disputes prior to trial at no cost to the parties.
Did you say no cost to the parties?
Yes, at no cost to the parties. Courts have always encouraged the resolution of disputes through mediation because it saves time, money, and even mental anguish. Those involved in the programs have found mediation to be rewarding and successful.
You know, mediation is actually entirely voluntary on the part of the parties. When people come to court for trial, the judge will inform the parties that they have the option, instead of going to trial, to try to mediate the dispute. And if the parties do elect to mediate, then the judge will appoint a professionally trained, neutral third person, and this person is called a mediator, who will be assigned to the case. What the mediator does is he sits down with the parties and discusses their problems, their feelings regarding the dispute, and issues that are important to each of the parties, all in an effort to try to resolve the case short of trial.
Joining us from Courtroom 107 is Ms. Shama Parikh, one of the court-approved mediators in family law cases. Hello, Ms. Parikh. Can you describe the qualifications that are necessary to be a court-appointed mediator in a family case?
Absolutely. There are actually several requirements, but most importantly, the mediator must have the proper training, the proper credentials, the proper expertise, and of course experience before they can become one of the family law mediators.
What types of matters are mediated in family court?
All kinds of things can be mediated, but most often we see issues such as custody, visitation, child support, the division of assets and debts, maintenance, as well as a division of college contribution. And these cases can take place either while the divorce is pending, after it's been completed, and even with families that have never been married before.
Can you briefly provide an overview of what happens during mediation?
Sure. I start by giving the parties an overview of my role and the rules. I determine whether there are any conflicts. Pursuant to the Uniform Mediation Act, all the sessions are confidential, so I impress upon the parties the importance to discuss openly and honestly. We thereafter discuss what each person is seeking and the reasons behind their request. I try to point out the strengths and weaknesses of each side's position, as well as offer guidance and creative solutions, all while remaining a neutral third party.
What happens after the mediation session?
Well, hopefully after mediation, the parties will have resolved the disputed issues or at least narrowed the issues for trial. So I would prepare the necessary orders memorializing any agreements reached, as well as a report as to the length of the session, whether the session was successful, and whether further mediation would be beneficial to the parties.
Thank you, Ms. Parikh, for your insights into this valuable program.
Actually, the small claims mediation program works in a very similar manner, but it involves a variety of different types of cases, including contract, personal injury, and landlord-tenant disputes. Typically, in the small claims division, cases that go to mediation are settled 75% of the time. And if a resolution is reached between the parties with the help of the mediator, as in family court, the small claims mediator will even draft the proper legal paperwork to be signed by the judge.
Litigants, attorneys, and judges agree that reaching an amicable settlement prior to trial saves substantial time, money, and stress.
And all agree that the programs have thus far been a great success. They've been so successful, in fact, that Lake County is now currently implementing a mediation program that will involve foreclosure cases.
So, if you find yourself in a family law or small claims court, be sure to ask about and consider mediation as an alternative to trial. Many others have and have been pleased with the results. I'm Judge Veronica O'Malley.
And I am Judge Tom Shippers, reporting on legal updates.
There's some very amazing places in our circuit here in Lake County, Illinois, and there's also some very amazing people. And I'm lucky enough to bring you today and introduce you to an amazing place that is run by a very amazing person. I'd like to introduce you to Diane Helgelin, who is the Executive Director of Partners for Progress, a therapeutic riding facility here in the western part of Lake County. Diane, thanks so much for letting us come and visit you today.
Oh, no, thank you for coming. It was an experience.
Can you tell us what is therapeutic riding?
Well, therapeutic riding is just that. It's therapy using the horse. So we actually here have kids that come in with doctor's scripts for physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and we just currently now added the mental health piece to our program.
Just amazing, because we've been watching while you've been working, and some of your staff has been working with people. So you work with kids from very tender ages, all right through adults with a different type of physical and developmental disabilities?
Yes, actually our youngest child that rides here is 13 months old.
Oh my gosh.
And they go all the way up to adulthood.
Do you train these horses to do this?
We do. We bring our horses in pretty young. Rupert was 4 when we brought him in, and some of our youngest horses have been 3, and we kind of train them up into the program.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit about your staff?
Sure. So we actually have 4 registered therapeutic riding instructors here. We have 3 physical therapists, 1 occupational therapist, 1 speech therapist, and 1 mental health worker here that all work every day in the program. But we also have a Heroes for Horses program, which is a veterans program, and so we service the veterans, and we also work with kids identified at risk.
That's incredible, because the timing is perfect for us in the 19th Circuit, because we are kind of in our infancy with our Veterans Court program. We call it our Veterans Treatment and Assistance Program. So a veteran could come out here, particularly those with post-traumatic stress, and you'd be able to assist them as well.
Yes.
And I was so gratified to find out when we first talked that you actually are working with some of our Face It kids at our juvenile program.
Absolutely. It's a great marriage, as I like to call it. They have been coming to us for several years. Every Monday, religiously, from 4 to 6 or 4:30 to 6:30, whichever works best. And 4 young men come here and they get to do all kinds of things. Sometimes they're helping in the arena. They all learn to lead. Sometimes they get to learn to clean stalls. I really like it when we have the hay wagons come in and they get to learn how heavy the hay bales are when they're putting them in the mow.
That's just excellent. Well, it was amazing for us to watch what happened here today, and you talk to some of the moms of the amazing work that you've done, to see Jack riding there.
Yeah.
What was he like when he first came and started working with you?
When he first came, he couldn't hold his head up on his own. He also had no strength in his trunk. We call it core strength. So he actually had a back rider that rode with him to hold him. And as you saw, you know, he's riding with 2 sidewalkers and a horse handler, but he sits up there. He also had no functional use of his hands. He didn't have any idea that they were there for him to try to hold on or to catch himself. And as you can see, he was holding on a lot of the times and blowing kisses. Mm-hmm. So he's a big success story.
How about Sean? I mean, to see him, it would look like we were watching part of Barnum and Bailey's circus performance.
Exactly. Sean, and you know, for him to come out and do a demonstration like that was huge. He was one that he would run out screaming if he thought he was going to have to demonstrate anything. So that was really awesome that he was able to come here and share what he does.
Wow. And then we see your grand champion in trail riding there too.
Yes, Corbett. And his dream was to be able to show on those national teams. He had that from the day I met him when he started going to college. And he's now living his dream.
We're here talking to Mr. Corbett Ryan. Corbett, well done.
Thank you very much.
How long you been riding?
About 33 years.
33 years? Well, we watched you go over the obstacles on this. Very impressive. You're really good.
Thank you very much.
So, is this really a lot of fun for you?
Oh, it's amazing.
Excellent.
So, another thing is, I'm trying to get more people to understand that people with disabilities matter.
Well, I mean, you are a terrific spokesman, and I thank you very much for talking to us today and letting us film you do this, because we just really are amazed with your talent. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
And Jack, we just watched you do wonders on that horse. Veronica, how long has he been riding?
He's been riding for almost 2 years now, I would say.
Have you seen a lot of changes in him since then?
Huge changes, I would say. He usually gets a lot of therapy throughout the week. He doesn't get a day off. He comes Monday through Friday. He has therapy, and I've never seen such a huge difference as coming one day a week here.
Really?
I think he just comes out here to have fun and just made huge gains.
And I think this youngster here likes him a lot too.
Oh.
Yes, thank you. Sean, I can't tell you how impressed we were with how well you rode. What was the name of that horse you were on?
Rupert.
And how long have you been riding Rupert?
A long time.
Long time? Well, I was just so impressed with your balance. Joanne, have you seen a lot of changes in your son since this started?
Oh, absolutely. Sean has improved. His strength has improved, his coordination. It amazes me that he can do all the moves that he can on the horse, flinging his legs in the back and being on his knees, etc. He's more social. He started volunteering at the barn, so I've seen a lot of wonderful things.
Well, I'll tell you, you're my hero, because I got to ride that horse for a minute, and I can't understand how I could ever do that, and you make it look so easy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for letting us talk to you and talking about it,
No
because
problem.
a lot of people are going to be impressed. I know I'm among them, and everybody at the courthouse I'm going to tell about you.
I know.
Joanne, thanks very much for talking with us today.
Thank you very much.
Again, thanks for introducing all of us and our viewers to something I really believe most people don't even know about, this gem of a facility you have right here in Lake County, and we'll be out to see you again.
Good, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm Judge John Phillips, talking about pets, animals, and therapy horses. In the courtroom, we have Shrek and Diane Helgeland and this wonderful facility, Partners for Progress. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Your Courthouse at Work. Every day at the courthouse, we try to serve the people of Lake County with integrity, with competence, and in a way that makes every citizen confident in their judicial system. So from the 19th Judicial Circuit in Waukegan, Illinois, I'm Chief Judge John Phillips. Thank you so much for watching.